3 plank progressions to build your core strength and stability. Now, I've talked a lot about the plank and how good the exercise is because it's simple, people can do it, and it gives you the ability to brace the abdominal wall and do all the other core skills that you need within more advanced exercises. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the plank itself, and then we're going to build on top of that using the stability ball, the gym ball here, and we're going to add 3 progressions on top. If you want to build your core strength and stability, if you want to go from beginner to advanced in 12 weeks, then you can do that with my online How to Build Core Strength and Stability training program. The program starts off body weight, so you work up through the beginner stage in using body weight, and then once you've completed the 12 weeks, the intermediate and advanced open out to you, where I start using different bits of equipment like the gym ball, like dumbbells, like kettlebells, and mixtures of the two in all these different workouts, so you can then start building and creating a better, stronger, more stable core. To begin, we've got to get the plank right. So these 3 progressions that are going to go on top of it need to be built on a proper plank position. So what we have to do is understand that first. So I'll go through that quickly. So we would come down onto the elbows as normal, like so. We would get relatively straight line between the shoulders, hips and the ankle, so we would be in this position, and then head stays in line, arms stay parallel, and that's the basic position for the plank. Yes, we want to be bracing the abdominals, then we want to be breathing from the abdominals on top of that. So that's sort of the first part of getting the plank right. We need the straight lines, we need the brace, we need the breathing. Once we can get that, we then need to be able to hold it for a period of time. I generally say between 30 seconds and a minute is adequate. If you can do that, then we can start adding bits on top of it. So what we're going to do is progression number 1 is first of all using the gym ball. So this can be enough of a progression for some people. And what we've also got to be able to do is get onto it safely. So there's a few things that we need to do. Number 1 is exactly the same, we've just got to do it on top of the ball. And I recommend keeping the knees down as we start this process. What a lot of people try and do is they try and get on the ball sort of in this position, and then they try and work their way into what would be a plank position, but because it's a little bit more wobbly, they find it hard to get into that plank position whilst they're on the ball. So what we need to be able to do is get into the position. So it's very much, we start in that position. So it's very easy. Once we get into this position, it's then just a case of extend one leg and extend the other leg. Then we need to do exactly the same as we've done before with the bracing of the abdominals, with the breathing. What we also need to do is make sure we get that straight line. So we come down into this position, so we've got that straight line roughly from the shoulders, hips down to the ankles. If you are a little bit higher, that's better than if you are a little bit lower. So if you're sagging like that, that's something that we want to avoid. So we want to try and keep it up. Once we're in that position, it is just a case of maintaining the position on the ball and building that, because it's going to be harder than just doing a normal plank. So again, we may need to build that up between 30 seconds up to a minute. Again, once we can do that, we can then add on the next progression. The other thing that people tend to do whilst they're on the ball, when they come into this position, they'll sort of lie on the ball like this. You want to keep your elbows, it's as if you're on the floor all the way through. So you've got to keep your elbows at sort of 90 degrees to the body. Again, that's the position you want to be aiming for. Once you can do that, with the bracing, with the breathing, holding for a period of time, then again, what we're ready to then do is move on to the next progression, which is then adding what would be described as like a shoulder flexion and extension to it. Now what that means is basically, if you can imagine I'm on the ball and that's my position of my shoulder, I want to move the ball away and then I want to bring it back. I want to move the ball away and I want to bring it back. So again, how we do that is exactly the same as before. First of all, we want to come onto the ball. Then we want to extend the legs. From here, we push the arms away, we come back. Now what we don't want to do in that position is take the whole body, so we're pivoting on the toe. The toes and the heels and the ankles want to stay in exactly the same position. The hips and the torso want to stay in exactly the same position. The only thing that's moving is the shoulder, like so. And then again, that's then just a case of building the reps up. Once we can then build the reps up, we're then essentially holding that plank in that position for a period of time. So it's very much going from the plank onto the ball, getting the position right on the ball. And once we've got the position right on the ball, we can then start extending the elbows away from us, which is just going to challenge the torso much more. And when we do that, we again have to watch the sagging. So we have to keep the body up. So again, as I mentioned before, if you can stay up a little bit higher, and that doesn't mean this sort of position, but if we can just stay above that straight line, then we're okay. If we start to come up and we're really hitching up, then again, it's having a detrimental effect, just like a sag would. The final progression is stirring the pot. So all we've done so far is we've got used to being on the ball, and then we've got used to moving it whilst being on the ball. So we've got used to moving it just forwards and back. What we're now going to do is start drawing circles and move into what would be described as stirring the pot, or the exercise known as stirring the pot. So everything else stays exactly the same. So we come onto the ball, we've got the straight line, we've got the bracing, we've got the breathing. What we then need to do is draw our circles. And again, when we're drawing our circles, what we don't want is the whole body to move around, and then the whole body to move around. We want just the shoulders to be doing the movement. So we're coming into position, we're not sort of using the whole body. It's here. So the torso stays rock solid and rigid, and then the shoulders do all of the work. And then obviously we want to go around one way, pause, and then go around the other way. And then how we build that up is just a case of building up the reps. So it might just be doing a plank on the ball with a couple of spins one way and a couple of spins the other way, finish on the plank. Then start in the plank, hold for a period of time, do say 4 one way, 4 the other. So just building up in a logical fashion. But we're using what we've learnt before as we go up into more intermediate and advanced exercises. And so to summarise what we've talked about, so we've gone basically from a beginner's to a more advanced type of exercise. It's exactly what my 12-week program does. It takes you from that beginner's level, down doing the plank, and then building it up into the intermediate and advanced, which is 12 weeks later, and then starting to use different bits of equipment, the ball being one of them. So what you're then able to do is build in a logical fashion. So you're starting out getting the breathing right, getting the bracing right, and getting the posture right for the plank. Then introducing the ball whilst maintaining that posture, position, and breathing and bracing. We're then starting to add in, obviously, an unstable surface, so we've got to hold a little bit stronger. Then what we can do, add in some movement with the shoulder flexion, with the arms going away and back, and then finally adding in the stirring of the pot. So it's a very simple progression, but it's a very effective progression, which is what I like, and it's the way I train everybody that I train. Simple, but effective, because most people, as I've said in previous videos, if the exercise is too complicated, all they're trying to do is complete the movement that you're asking them. They're not focused on what muscles are working, when they're working, how they're working, and integrating everything into one fluid movement. So you should be able to ask them, or ask yourself, what are my abs doing? What's my hip doing? What's my shoulder doing? What's my head doing? What's my breathing doing? Rather than just holding on for dear life to try and complete the exercise. So hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully it's given you a logical fashion to be able to progress and build core strength and stability. Many thanks for watching. I look forward to working with you in the future.